on the Sooner Sports Network from Learfield, live at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. This is Sooner Sports Talk, presented by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Sooner Sports Talk is also brought to you by Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards, and by Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. This is Sooner Sports Talk. Now, here are your hosts, Teddy Lehman, and the voice of the Sooners, Toby Rowland.
I am not Toby Rowland.
No, you're not.
T-Row is calling basketball tonight, Coach.
Oh, okay.
So you're stuck with me.
Yeah, the B team.
How are we doing?
B team.
I think it's more of like a C or D situation because there's Plank and then there's Chad McKee, and then I really do. I think I'm fourth string.
Yeah, well, hey, you got to do what you got to do, man.
Teddy Lehman, ladies and gentlemen.
Smattering of applause.
And the head football coach of the Oklahoma Sooners, Brent Venables. Opening segment is presented by Noble McIntyre with McIntyre Law. Noble McIntyre at McIntyre Law, the law firm for all your personal injury needs. Coach, had to feel great to get back into the win column.
Yeah, winning is a good feeling, and happy for our players, their hard work. Regardless of who we're playing, I thought our guys played well, and they felt good. So you got to celebrate those, small wins that you get in the course of a season.
How'd you think the offense played? It felt like they needed a moment to get the rhythm back. You've been talking about rhythm a lot lately, and being able to get the run going, hit on some deep plays, just a confidence booster.
Yeah, they had other than the first drive of the game, where I think we had 5 plays and then we end up punting, but we scored on 9 out of 11 drives and touchdowns, and we had 1 field goal. We turned the ball over once, and we punted the very first series. But the cleanliness, the physicality, the fundamentals, the physical strain at all 3 levels was better. And just another week, and this time we happen to have victory with it. But it was easily our best game when it comes to targeting, moving people, playing more aggressively, more sure of ourselves. The receivers, it was their best game from a blocking on the perimeter standpoint, running routes, and then decision making by the quarterbacks was really good. Tight ends were really good. Again, targeting and moving people and having fun, knocking the crap out of people.
Bauer Sharp was selling out on some of those. He got some big hits.
Maine is a very well-coached team. Again, they had beaten 3 out of their last 5 wins were all, top 20 wins for them. And we're playing with a lot of confidence. Both sides of the ball, they did, I wouldn't call them what they did as a lot, but they weren't just vanilla and stayed in one thing the whole time either. They twisted guys, they brought edge pressure both ways. They run stuff in the, up the A and B gaps, and, a lot of gap exchange things where our guys were challenged to have to, play well, pick things up. Again, we ran the counters. I really liked how we ran leads and counters, and for the first time, man, we came around with speed and aggression and purpose, and we hadn't seen that consistently. And so, again, you look at, we played 10 offensive linemen, 5 of them were freshmen, and the freshmen, they played good. They played good, not perfect, but they played well and played aggressively and physical. Defensively, our guys outside the first drive in particular, and then again, I said this afterwards, we gave up a 40-yard quarterback keeper on a misfit, and then we gave up a post arrow late for 40 plus yards where our corners got to push and be in the post. Other than that, we really played pretty good. And then, right there at the end, we had several guys backing up. We got a stop down there, and then we gave up a late score there prior to that stop there at the end. But I tried to call timeout and get more guys in around 2:50-ish.
Jackson Arnold, these last couple weeks, it feels like his decision-making has been as crisp as it's been since he's been at Oklahoma. What's the difference? What have you seen on the practice field? What's translating to where he's making better decisions out there?
I think the number one thing is the guys around him are better. You go back and look. You got all these new guys that haven't been together as an offense, let alone the guys up front. Everybody around him is getting a little bit better. If you go and look at Bauer Sharp or Jake Roberts, or you look at having Troy Everett at center, everybody is a little bit better. J.J. Hester's a better version of himself. 88 in there in the slot has made us better. And so you can just go down that list. So I think that's number one. I think it's important that you recognize that we're running the ball more efficiently. That helps him, not put the pressure of the world on him. And then the other piece is, coming into the season, he started one game in his career, actually played pretty good in that game, had a few turnovers, but, his body of work was pretty dang good. And then the season happened, and again, now you're looking at, this is his, whatever it is for him, 7th start, maybe 6th start, and taking the couple of weeks where he was forced to get on the sideline and look at things from a different lens, I think was healthy for him. And not probably, he wouldn't have chosen that. He'd rather have learned a different way. And but it gave him an opportunity to take a different step back and take a different look at, all of it. And when he came back, and like I said, probably the best thing he did was just kept his head down and went to work and had several weeks of really, really, really good practices, and then I think you're seeing the byproduct is what you're seeing right now. Just the cleanliness. Had a dart on an RPO over the middle to Brennan Thompson that Brennan drops. They pop it out, but he's got to catch that. But he's been incredibly efficient when he's run it. He's made good decisions with running it, and he's run through trash, and he's thrown some guys open, and we had some penetration on a play action that Brennan Thompson was open for a post early.
First drive of the game, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It took him off his spot there, and so he ended up scrambling. We ended up punting on that drive, and that would have been an easy touchdown. But and he's got all this growth still in front of him, and I think he's more and more confident, as they've been able to play in rhythm. And then I think having Coach Finley and Coach Johns, that has seemed to that combination has seemed to benefit everybody, in particular Jackson as a quarterback.
The running game, you mentioned all the pieces that have gotten better around him. The running game and Javonte Barnes the last couple of games, it feels like he had some confidence coming from the Ole Miss game, and some people may say, well, it's Maine, but I'm seeing him avoid guys, make the second level and third level miss, where before he's just kind of plowing forward, picking up yards. And now he looks like a totally different player last couple of weeks.
Yeah, his tempo and his pace is different. He's really feeling the timing of things and trusting the guys around him. And again, there's a focal point too of, okay, if this is their structure that they're in, this is their coverage, this is their alignment, then this is what we think they're going to do. So I think there's a little more precision in the preparation, and so there's confidence in that, going through the week, and this is how they're going to do it, this is where the holes should hit, and so everybody's a little bit better on him. That's helped him too. But he really is. Here's a little counterplay, nice tempo, and he explodes through there. And again, he's running with purpose and strength through the top end of the run, and even right there, just the burst and the confidence and all of it.
It was your 8th different combination to start along the offensive line.
Yeah.
Not exactly what you're looking for.
No.
Looking for more continuity than that, consistency than that. But How'd you feel that group played?
Yeah, really good. Again, really good. They graded out well, and they protected really well, and they moved people, and they played aggressively and physical. And so that's what you want them to do, and they gain confidence as as a result. Daniel. First thing he says to me, Akagumi, he in the locker room, he says, "Coach, way easier." He goes, "I've been completely overthinking it."
Oh, it's great.
It's like, and it wasn't like, again, we all have the right perspective, but they were. I mean, this is what you saw isn't different than what you saw. They're in cover 4. They put the shade to the field or to the throwing strength and the 3, and then they run a B gap blitzer, or they run a cross, or they bring a Sam fist, or they bring a free safety boundary, or things like that. And so, are you identifying? Are you targeting? Are you picking it up? Are you communicating? All those things. And guys, they did a really good job. And so you want to recognize that. It doesn't just happen. You saw Eddie Pierre-Louis, climb to the 3rd level there off the top rope.
You got to tell us. I got to know.
It's about time.
What was that conversation like on the team meeting on Monday? What was?
Well, it was on the field. So it started with Coach.
I loved it.
It started with Coach
Beanbo,
and so pardon his French, and then that's football. I'm like, I agree with you. And so we didn't say nothing to Eddie, and in a different setting. No, hey Eddie, you can't do that. He's on the ground. The whistle has happened. You can't take a 20-yard leaping belly flop on him.
Attacked that guy.
That's the best part about football. That's assault anywhere else, but not on a football field.
Right.
That's what makes it the best sport in the world.
His mom, Miss Brunson, she absolutely loved that. It was worth her trip from Florida. That's what she told me.
I loved it as well. In all seriousness, it did seem like he had a handful of those types of plays. How do you think that could kind of change the mentality of some of those guys in that room? Because a couple of those, him and Troy Everett, are just burying guys together.
They both have some alpha in them, and that'll bring out more and better things, qualities out of other guys, as you know. That's a real thing. And guys will all hopefully want to start. Again, the edge and the confidence comes from a lot of hard work and a lot of film study and a lot of strain, and then you take that to game day and you take it out on people and you explode. And that's, that I think that this will be an opportunity to build on what you saw there for sure.
Well, you mentioned the young guys, and also defensively you talked about trying to get more guys in there, but you did see quite a few of them get out there. How'd you think the younger guys performed?
Really well. We played 19 true freshmen, 6 redshirt freshmen, so 25 freshmen and redshirt freshmen, and then we played another 7 true sophomores, so that 32 guys that are, majority of them are freshmen with a few sophomores, and I think the number overall was around 80-ish, so almost half of them were freshmen, with a few sprinkled in sophomores, and they all did good. They did good. Nobody was perfect, but several guys Hardy and Boganowski and Eli Bowen, those guys in particular, and then Jaden Jackson and David Stone. You saw Danny Okoye get in there, Taylor Wine, another freshman. PJ was a redshirt freshman, and then I think those are all the DBs. Really liked how those guys played. Really, they flew around, and then again we had several guys on offense too that were freshmen too that we can talk about when we come back.
Send it to break, Coach.
If you want to do it, you can do it.
I don't know what to say.
Just say you're watching Sooner Sports Talk with Brent Venables.
Hey, you're watching Sooner Sports Talk with Brent Venables.
Let's go.
Sooner Sports Talk is brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue.
Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bob Moore Ford is proud to honor service members through the Patriot of the Game. Log on to Soonersports.com/kids for information about joining the Sooner Junior Kids Club, presented by OG&E and brought to you in part by Orthodontics exclusively, Mathis Home, and Devon Energy.
Welcome back to Sooner Sports Talk with Brent Venables. He's Brent Venables and also the new host of the show. Ted, what do you have for Coach?
Well, there was a couple of guys out there that it looked like maybe Brennan Thompson was banged up a little bit. PJ kind of limped off. Any updates health-wise for anyone?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect it to be a long-term with either of those guys. So
that's
good.
all you're getting.
That's good
from him.
news.
Yeah,
That's good news.
we know we do an injury report thing.
Really?
Yeah, several times a
Hey,
week.
Toby does the same thing. Toby asks you every week, just kind of throw it out there, and you can
Yeah.
kick it around a minute and kick it back at me. That's fine.
All right.
All right, good. No update.
The wide receiver situation has been an interesting one,
Yeah.
to say the least. Any chance of getting
There's definitely a chance.
Okay.
Again, it's early in the week. Last time Dion came back, the timing wasn't there. And so just wasn't completely healthy. So hopefully, it's right around the corner here.
Well, what have you seen from Missouri? That's another team has a bye week before they play us, which is odd how that's worked out. But what have you seen from them so far?
Yeah, they've been a good football team. That they're 6-2. They had some injuries, and you see again when you have some injuries, it makes it harder to win. They lost, against A&M, and they lost against Alabama, but they won several games by one score. I think they played Boston College, and then Vanderbilt. Were one-score games, and Auburn as well. And they lost their quarterback. Early in that game, and then he comes back later in the game. He went to the hospital across the street. Maybe got I don't know what they did and then he comes back in the Superman cape and he takes him down the field. A heck of a drive. They completed at least one fourth down, 3rd and 18. They gained 13, and then they got the first down and went down and they scored and took the lead there right at the end of the game. So it's a team that won 11 games a year ago, won the Cotton Bowl, played in a New Year's Day game, beat Ohio State 13-3 in that game, and went up and down the field on several teams throughout the year. Found ways to win. Had several guys drafted and kind of reloaded. They lost their defensive coordinator. He went to LSU. And the rest of the staff stayed there on defense, and they've picked up where they left off. They're, statistically speaking, they've been really good. They've been top, I think, 4th in the country on third down defense. Really made it difficult on people. Really good in the red zone. Overall, they're a top 15, top 18 unit in college football. In all the other areas, I think they're giving up just under 18 points a game, on defense, and then. So they're playing really well there. And then offensively, again, with Luther Burden and Theo Weiss, and they've got excellent tight ends and really good backs. When everybody's healthy, they've been really difficult to stop. And they push the ball down the field, but it's all set up off of play action. They run the inside and the outside zone, and they run quarterback run game really, really well with this quarterback. They were number 1 in the country a year ago. In red zone offense. They got down there, they scored touchdowns. And then you got 2 incredibly dynamic receivers that really make it hard on you. And along with 87 at tight end, they move Burden around a lot, find lots of opportunities for him to touch the ball, the screen game, you saw there a little jet sweep. They get him out of the backfield. They can take the top off the defense. He's a fantastic player. Going to play the game a long, long time. And and then their veteran group up front, they've recruited some guys in the portal. they've done a nice job. Eli has. So they and their staff, they've well-coached football team.
This segment is brought to you by Dos Equis, the official import beer of OU Athletics. Go for Dos. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. You mentioned their offensive line. How do you feel about they have not run the ball as efficiently as they did a year ago, which was really what made that offense go last season for them, but still have done some nice things. How do you feel about the matchup up front with your guys' defensive line against their O-line?
Yeah, well, we're going to have to play well there. And that goes without saying. They led the SEC in rushing last year. The running back left, but they signed 2 other guys, and they haven't been healthy the last few weeks, and so that's inhibited them. But at the end of the day, in regards to us, we need to play well. That's been a spot on our defense that's played pretty consistently throughout the course of the year, and we're going to need to be able to get some knockback and control the line of scrimmage. It's going to be a great challenge for our guys.
There's a thought that perhaps Cook may not play. Pines the backup. And talking about that quarterback run game, do you see a difference much in how those 2 quarterbacks play?
Well, Pine can run, and certainly Cody Cook is one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. He proved that last year as they won 11 games. And it was everything went through him. When I studied him in the out of season, everything came back to him, and then that running back. They really blocked it up well. And their defense was really good. They were outstanding on defense. And again, they had several players drafted, maybe 5 or 6 guys on their defense. Really good players there. And so they continued to feed them the ball and create short fields. But Cody Cook is a guy that wears it on the sleeve. Really emotional leader, plays wide open, can really run, throws the ball well on the move, and they'll move the pocket with him. Makes great decisions. He's a veteran guy, Brady Cook, and just a really outstanding leadership. He's a tough guy, and the team feeds off of his toughness.
I don't think you can question a guy's toughness when he goes to the hospital, comes back.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see if he plays. What do you think about your team going and handling this environment? I'm interested in seeing what the atmosphere is like in Columbia, but 6:45 p.m. kickoff, you would assume it's going to be rocking pretty good.
Yeah, and that was the word I was going to use. That, no doubt about it. And when Oklahoma comes in town, that's usually what happens. Our fan base will travel well, and their fan base. Again, is this the last home game for them?
They've got what they're at.
It's one of maybe their last 2.
At LSU. I think they have one more home game.
Okay, so this is not senior night, but they've got several players that this is kind of one of their last couple of home games as well. So it'll be a great atmosphere. You're being in the SEC, there's no atmosphere that isn't really good, and it's a great matchup, on many levels.
Did you play at Missouri when you were a player? Did you go play there?
Yeah.
What'd you think
Bob
of it?
Stoll was the coach there at the time, and they were really good. It was a great atmosphere. It was a good atmosphere.
Yeah, it's a wild place. It's an interesting stadium and everything. I was just wondering, what memories or anything you have there, if any.
Yeah, well, the turf was really hard, and so you had to stay, keep your. And I like to show some skin. Yeah. Linebackers, and you don't put on the pads and stuff. You just go out there and then my linebacker coach Jim Levitt. He was a co-defensive coordinator with Bob Stoops, and we lost a heartbreaker there. But Jim Levitt played baseball and football at Missouri. And so after the game, he was pretty emotional. He got after it and that's what I remember the most. Because if he was miserable, then all of his linebackers were miserable too. And but no, it was the old Big 8, man. It was a great league, and Missouri. Had a great tradition as well, and Bob Stoll is one of the best, to ever coach there.
I think my most vivid Missouri memory is that they have the worst visitor locker room in college football.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't want to say that. You guys can say it.
It
It's not
is
real
what it
nice.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's by design. But that was, I remember walking in there. We went there. I think we were ranked number 1 in the country.
Yeah.
Went there and got beat. Maybe it was the visitor locker room. I don't know. But that was a very interesting setup. I wonder if it's still the same.
I'm sure.
It very well may
I doubt
be.
they've updated it much, if any.
I
That's
think they're
funny.
getting ready to have an update to their whole stadium. I think they passed it, but it'll be a couple of years.
Somehow the visitor locker rooms are last on the list to get updated.
It's interesting. It's interesting. All right, we got more with Coach Venables coming up next. Keep it right here. Sooner Sports Talk from Rudy's.
Sooner Sports Talk is brought to you by Norman Hyundai, your premier Hyundai dealership for new and used cars. The best place to gear up for game day is shop.soonersports.com. The Sooner Sports Podcast is your all-access audio pass to Sooner Sports. Listen as Toby Rowland and Chris Plank talk all things Sooners. New episodes drop every day. Log on to Soonersports.com/podcast or search Sooner Sports Podcast in your favorite podcast provider. Presented by Allstate and Riverwind Casino. Orthodontics exclusively is proud to sponsor the Junior Captain of the game. Junior Captain is the ultimate fan experience for children grades 3 through 7.
Welcome back to Sooner Sports Talk with Brent Venables here at Rudy's. This segment's... These people love you. That's awesome.
Oh, they're awesome. It's the best.
This segment's
So I'm
brought
always
to you
in a
by-
good mood when I come here and I leave. And it's just kind
Usually
of
the first
a
segment's
sanctuary.
kind of like a filling out period, and then he loosens up after he goes through the game and reminds himself all the things that he was upset about. After that, moves on.
This segment's brought to you by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards. Logan Howland.
Yeah.
At Ole Miss, had a rough go of it, was a young guy that was thrown in a tough situation in that game, and had one glaring technique flaw that was not setting him up for success. How nice was it to see Logan respond the way that he did to fix that technique flaw and to go out and play a nice game against Maine?
You know, to your point, you know, the reason he had more success was because he did play with better fundamentals and give himself a chance. And he was thrown into a really tough situation. There were some plays he did good at Ole Miss. Just when it was not good, it was not good. You know, it was a disaster for everybody else. So responded great. Had a great, tough physical week of practice, and just, you know, he cares about his opportunity, cares about his teammates, didn't want to let anybody down, and he's ultra talented. You saw some of that talent and the ability, and he's just getting started, you know. Again, just 2.5 years ago, he's a tight end, and he's put on weight, and then he's learned all this new verbiage, and then even through, you know, the time that he's been here, most of that time has been spent watching, not as much doing, you know, to be honest, you know, when you look at what he's doing now from a rep count standpoint. So he'll only continue to get better because he's got the right, you know, he's got the right tool belt, and ultra talented, got great coaching, and then the guys around him have really been great for him. But he really responded a great way, was physical, sustained blocks, did a good job climbing to the second level and some of the gap scheme plays, really nice job targeting, and, you know, when people are trying to move, that's one of the harder things to do, you know, as a lineman, and did a nice job.
When you're going up to Missouri, and I know it's always pretty much a lot of the same stuff, but what do you think is going to be most important for the formula to come back with a win?
Yeah, so we got to do a really good job of, you know, creating explosive plays, and you'll have opportunities to establish the run game is going to be important, and but we've got to have some opportunities where we can connect on explosive plays. You know, they're too good, you know, to defensively not to, you know, the formula. You know, you can't not have explosive plays, be a little bit efficient. You're going to have the same kind of result that you had against Ole Miss, and so we've got to do a good job of that. Certainly, turnover battles, everything. I think they're +1 and we're +2 on the season, so we're real even. We've created 16 turnovers, I believe, on defense, and they're around 8. So we've turned it over a little more than they have, but the turnover battle and being able to run the football, control the line of scrimmage will be important, and then not giving up explosives, on defense. People are going to make a play. They need to, to earn it. And then the hidden yardage in the kicking game is going to be critical. And you get down to the red zone, you got to force them to kick field goals. And offensively, man, we got to turn those, when you get inside that 20, you got to turn those into touchdowns when you go on the road.
You mentioned the importance of the running game in this game. What have you thought about the run plan these last couple of weeks since Joe John Finley has taken over? It seems like variations of the zone play, some counter sprinkled in there. It seems like he's really simplified some things for these guys, and it's allowing them to play fast.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how much simplification. Maybe there's some, but our guys are it's another week of practice and another opportunity to watch tape and get corrections and just gain experience. And there's a lot to that. And then it's everybody else too around them. And then it's making good decisions at quarterback and some of those decisions. Do I throw it out there where they're a little bit loose in coverage, or do I hand it off? And we have some strict indicators for that, as well, and making those good decisions, is part of that. But it has been good. And I think play sequencing on game day is a real thing. Some people are good at it, and some people aren't quite as good at it. And as a play caller, myself for such a long time, the value of that and anticipating how do they see you. So knowing yourself is really important, and so that you can anticipate not just by what you watch on tape, but every week people are going to game plan. How do they look at you? What are they going to see? And so what can you anticipate, getting, from them, so that you can, as you're calling a game, you can anticipate. And I think I might have said this before. One of the best play callers I've ever been around was here at Oklahoma was Kevin Wilson. Had such a just an instinctive, play calling aptitude, but he really knew defense. He's like, this happened, here comes Sam Fire. Oh, this happened, here comes corner crash, and so he was really, really good. But anyway, there's a lot for that. As you build a game plan and as you're anticipating throughout the course of the week on how game day is going to go, a good play caller is going to play the game before the game ever happens, and all the what if this happens, all the different scenarios. And so I think you're seeing some of that. The run game has been a byproduct of that. And then again, the guys have gotten better and more confident, in what we're doing, scheme-wise.
I forgot to ask you this earlier when we were talking about the young guys, but it was really cool to see how the team reacted when Caden Helms got that touchdown.
Yeah.
And he came to the sideline. I mean, he could barely even make it down to the other bench. It's like every single guy came up,
How cool
giving
was
him a
that?
hug and
Yeah.
everything. That was cool to see.
Yeah, it was. And, he's overcome a lot. He's just been snake bit since he's been here from an injury standpoint. It's been several different types of injuries, and he's worked incredibly hard when nobody was watching, for such a long time. And so for him not to give up hope and just continue to fight and battle back and to be able to have that moment, big moment for him and big moment for the team. And man, he'll just take off from there.
Jacob Jordan just keeps getting open.
Yeah.
Some more production. Loved seeing him catch that deep over route. Loved how that entire play developed. Loved what we saw from Jackson Arnold on that play. But what has he brought to that wide receiver room now that he's gotten his opportunity?
Consistency, which is one of the best qualities you can say about a player, a team, a coach, if they're consistent. Man, that's such an undervalued quality. That's what the great ones have. And but he's been incredibly consistent. He shows up every day. He's the same guy every day, competes hard every day. He cares, again, about his opportunities, detailed. He's prepared for practice. He's prepared for the installation. He's got great humility, so he takes good, hard coaching and responds to when things don't go well for him, whether he's covered or maybe he has a drop at practice or something happens. He doesn't crush his own spirit. So he knows how to respond the right way. And he comes from a great program where those guys play wide open. They play 100 miles an hour from South Lake Carroll. And again, you're seeing, a guy that's been prepared for this opportunity when it came. And as I've stated in the past here recently, that he was prepared, even though his number wasn't being called. And so when it did happen, he didn't have to figure things out. He just went in there and played.
Well, and quarterbacks figure that out themselves pretty quickly. And now that, he's had some consistency, do you see the chemistry between him and Jackson Arnold?
Yeah, no doubt.
To develop?
Oh, yeah, that's really, you know it when you see it and you know it when you don't. Yeah.
David Stone, he's got the cast on.
Yeah.
But it seems like since he's had it on, his level of play has improved.
Well, again, I just think, remember, true freshman, here we are going on to, game 10. And so you're seeing, again, he comes in early, he comes in late. He spends a lot of time working at his craft. And he's learning how to practice hard and detailed and things like that, and pad level and everything will just incrementally get better. But I think part of that is what you're seeing. And he's getting a little bit of confidence. You give him a little bit of sugar, man, it goes a long way. He's one of those guys that just, it really feeds him. And he really, pat on the back and, man, I see you, brother. And he got that smile. When we had the penalty on 4th down, we got the interception. I don't know why. At first, I thought it was Stone. So afterwards, he came up to me after the game, and I'm kind of mad. I'm just the worst. I just hold on to the bad things and too much. But anyway, so I was mad, and he comes up, and he got his arm around me, and he's, Coach, man, what do you think of that sack? And I'm like, sack, man, you got us a penalty. I'm like, I just kind of go off on him. And we got the interception, and they scored a touchdown because you hit the quarterback. He's like, oh, no, that was Danny Okoye. Coach, that wasn't me. I'm like, are you sure?
That's great.
But, no, it's really cool to see, all the young guys get their opportunity. But for David, that's been, he's been that last tackle, and that defensive tackle rotation and to improve and get better is a lot of fun to watch that and see the smile on his face as a result.
We've got one more segment with Coach Venables. Keep it right here at Sooner Sports Talk from Rudy's.
We want to thank all of our Sooner Radio Network affiliates across the state and region. Fans can check out Soonersports.com for an affiliate in your area. And if you're traveling outside the state of Oklahoma, you can listen to all the action on either SiriusXM Radio or download the Varsity Network app and listen free. OU's 2024 football games are available on Exodus 96.5 FM in Oklahoma City and 101.5 FM El Patron in Tulsa, as well as on those stations' websites. Each OU Spanish broadcast will feature a 30-minute pregame show and a 15-minute postgame show. Oklahoma Buick GMC dealers. See your Oklahoma Buick GMC dealer.
Welcome back to Sooner Sports Talk with Brent Venables, live at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. Coach, about 4 hours ago it was announced that Danny Stutzman has been named a semifinalist for the Butt Kiss Award.
Yeah.
This guy knows a thing or two about that one.
Good for him. That's fantastic.
How exciting is that? Danny's just been such a consistent player for you guys.
Yeah, this is an easy one to celebrate because of everything he's invested in this program and in his teammates, certainly in his opportunity. He's worked incredibly hard for it. That kind of stuff, he holds it. I haven't talked to him about it. It was announced after we started practice today, but he's a guy that's incredibly humble. He's a confident guy, but he's very humble, and he knows it'll be a credit because all the guys around him to help him, be recognized in that company. But Danny's focused on getting wins and helping the defense and the teammates, the whole locker room play at a high level. So. Man, we're gonna miss him, but certainly have a great depth of appreciation for, what he has represented, while he's been here at Oklahoma. Another one of the great ones in a very strong lineage.
Very deserving. He's been fantastic.
This segment is brought to you by Pike Pass. Make it home safe, Oklahoma. I'm interested in just your overall thoughts about the offense right now, going through what they went through these last couple of weeks, and just where you feel that group is as a whole as you head into, let's be real, a more challenging situation than what they just saw this week.
The next few weeks will bring that, and I think they've done a great job under the circumstances these last few weeks. And again, there's doing that mid-season there's nothing easy about that, and immediately the staff went to work and handled it incredibly well. Great chemistry. Everybody just pitched in, and they just a great chemistry. You noticed it. Everything just changed dramatically, with Coach Finley and Coach Johns kind of leading the way. Johns, because of, the quarterbacks, that changed. And then Coach Finley, just leading the way. And so I have a great appreciation for what that looks like, and then how that carried over to the practice field. The same things that you saw, in the staff room, and how they prepared were the same things that you saw out on the practice field. And the players didn't flinch. They really felt that the same things I'm trying to describe. Just the organizational piece of it, and then the rhythm of practice and the intentionality of practice. And the positivity, all those things. So, the byproduct is they're playing, in a pretty good rhythm, these last couple of weeks.
They're yelling at me with it. We got to break. We got to go.
Annoying?
It is what it is. We got to break, Coach.
Before.
Coach, we have to break. Oh, you're hearing it.
What if we just keep talking and act like we don't hear?
I don't know.
He'll probably just cut us off.
Brent Venables, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with Teddy's Hot Takes next.
Thank you to our Cornerstone television partners, OU Health, OG&E, Fowler Auto Group, and Coca-Cola.
This last segment is brought to you by your Oklahoma Buick GMC dealers. Ted, bold predictions for OU Missouri.
Javante Barnes, 140 total yards offensively. Keeps it going. The man's on a roll.
I like the sound of that. Thanks for watching Sooner Sports Talk with Brent Venables. Have a great night, everybody.
Sooner Sports Talk has been brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. And by Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Sooner Sports Network.